Hi, this is Ben from FENECH-SOLER. I'm here joined with my brother Ross, and we want to give a big shout out from FENECH-SOLER to Recess with Spinelli.
You are listening to Recess with Spinelli here on WSPN, Hoxton FM, the International Radio Festival, and the New York State Music Blog. And today we are here with the English pop duo from Kings Cliff, FENECH-SOLER. Their new album, Zilla, is out and available now. Thank you so much for joining me today, guys.
Oh, thank you for having us.
Yeah, lovely to speak to you.
Now, I understand that when your debut album came out in North America, it was kind of a mixture of old and new work. So when breaking into the North American, the U.S. market, compared to now, how has that evolution changed with the release of Zilla?
I guess we're approaching it in kind of a very fresh term because it's a new record. I think actually there's probably been a couple of years between us putting this record out and our first one. So with that in mind, the way the music industry evolves naturally at a very, very quick pace. So I guess like Spotify has really come in, and streaming has become a real thing in that period. So kind of how you kind of release a record now in a market slightly is a bit different. But to be honest, that's all business stuff. Like from mine and Ross's perspective, we made the record in our bedroom, we tore the record in the same way, and it's very similar for us. So the kind of ethos is still the same, really, I guess.
Actually, as far as how you make the record, I assume things have definitely changed, especially with a band lineup, which I believe you said was in around September.
Ross and I, being brothers, like we've always written FENECH-SOLER's music, and we kind of were doing that when there was 4 people in the band, and now there's 2 of us in the band. And I guess in a lot of ways, like just creatively, I think we had more ownership of this record, and I think the sound, our goal was to create a simple, colourful pop record. That's what we wanted to create, and I guess the lineup being a bit more simple and kind of less is more, really, I guess, in some kind of way. Certainly from a production element, we felt that was the case, and we're having a great time because people have reacted to this record more than anything music we've kind of ever put out there. So we're just been having fun with it, and the record was designed to be like that. It's a fun record, and so yeah, it's all good.
Do you notice a difference in the way your audience reacts to your work in the UK versus the US? Are there certain songs that, I guess, vibe better with a crowd over there compared to here?
Yeah, I think we definitely felt on this year and this tour, especially Kaleidoscope being the single from this new record, is definitely the one that probably gets the best reaction, because I think it's had the biggest push over here, had the most radio play out of any single we've ever put out, and it's had a good amount of listens on Spotify. So I think we definitely felt that song is it pricked up more than some of the other songs that we were more known for in the UK. Is probably tracks from our first and second record. So yeah, we've noticed that, I definitely think.
Now, when you first introduce yourselves to an audience, where do they typically think you guys are from?
The name it feels very foreign, even to where we're from, let alone coming over as a UK band over to here. But most people thought we were French when we started the band. FENECH-SOLER sounded quite Parisian, and we were kind of fine with that. Like, we always were influenced by French house music and a lot of stuff from Kitsune and Ed Banger and stuff. So like we grew up kind of enjoying that music. So we were quite cool. We were quite cool with the idea of us people thinking that's where we were from. But when we come over here, I mean, people. Yeah, I mean, they know we're English straight away. Although they mix us up with sounding Australian, accent-wise. It's either people will always say, like, are you Australian or are you English? And that's kind of a mix-up slightly. So we find it sometimes when we strip back some of our songs for, like, acoustic sessions, or we do, like, some slightly different versions live. And it's funny when you kind of sing certain lyrics without the kind of full band, full energy behind it, but it's more of a strip-back thing. It's funny how some lyrics just completely change, like, their power and meaning when you set those words in that order against a soundscape of a different vibe. It can completely change things, and that's the same with remixing. It's like there's some songs where the top line or the melody and the lyrics, they're good, but then sometimes when you hear a remix of that song, it's like it just makes it sound so much more heartfelt. It makes it better. Sometimes it can make it worse, and it's like you can ruin a song by doing a remix. But yeah, it can really change the power of the lyrical kind of content.
So actually, when making your music for your albums, when you have the lyrics done and you're, putting together the melody for it, have you ever just sat there and said, this doesn't work, it's changing the meaning of the lyrics too much, time to restart on it?
Lyrics are hard, and and I think bands, I don't know, you get some artists, and we have other friends in bands and stuff where lyrics are like, come first, and they have a story and an idea of the meaning of what they want to achieve with that song. We don't do that really. Like, we find lyrics hard, and for us it's very much the sound and the melody is what I guess our ears lock onto when we hear a song. We immediately listen to the kind of just the vibe of the song and just the feel of it, and then what the melody's doing, and then second of all, then the lyrics come in, I guess. Yeah,
essentially the lyrics come last normally, so we've never been really in a situation where we've gone, I've got all these lyrics but the vibe doesn't fit it. It's kind of, we always fit the lyrics to the vibe of the song, I think.
But we did learn quite early on, because we're DIY with everything we do. We've recorded and produced and pretty much mixed like all of the songs that we've ever made at home, and we learned quite early on to not leave the lyrics totally to the end. Like, if we have a melody, you have to balance it with like getting the pen and paper out, writing and thinking about what you want to write, and working on the lyrics and working on the melody, and then getting that in early before you even look at any production. Because you can create this big song and it has multiple layers, and then you're like, right, I need to record this killer vocal, and the pressure is so much that you just end up ruining it, and then you listen to it for 2 weeks and then you want to kill yourself because it's like you've just ruined something you thought was great.
Crumbling my heart, but under this tree I sit calmly waiting, wondering when will my life fall back in.
I understand that you actually come from a musical background, family-wise. I think it was your dad that was did kind of country and bluegrass music in the stateside.
He did, yeah. Music's always been kind of involved with our family, really. It's quite a big Irish family. We even have our cousin playing drums for us, and there's just always been instruments lying around, and like you said, like our dad played with his brother, very similar to me and Ben, and toured America, and kind of they were just always around and growing up. So yeah, we just it just fell into our lap, really, just taking it forward, really, and doing our own thing with it.
So when you speak to your dad about touring or making music, are there some things that carry over genres that are just kind of natural to the trade? Yeah,
I think we always go to him to have an opinion on our songs, because he's quite honest about it. And I think it doesn't matter, he played bluegrass and country music, and we play electronic pop music, and there's obviously a vast difference in genre in that, but I think something that rings true is just a good song and a good melody, and I think that transcends genres. And yeah, so I think just him like bringing us up on good music has been something that's stood the test of time, and I think that's been a big influence on us.
Has he been able to give you tour advice that carries over as well?
Oh, well, there's certainly, being in a large percentage of being in a band is about making decisions, business decisions, creative decisions all the time, and it can be a minefield. It can be a real snakes and ladders scenario, and we have always benefited from having our father in our corner, who's really kind of it was a long time ago, but the general. The same kind of principles apply, and he's always given us great guidance and advice, and has always been a real support. So even away from the creative side, just managing our own business and all the things that come with that, he's certainly been a soundboard for us and like helped us through a lot of stuff. So yeah, it's been great.
Essentially being a family business with the band. Now, do you ever find a way to separate work from daily life, or is that something you would even consider in the first place, or do you want it to consume you entirely? Even
having a dream to want to travel and play your music and to kind of get your music out there, like that's a powerful thing, and it really is. But it's like the carrot at the end of the stick, and it's the thing that sometimes it can be blinding, and sometimes it can be a complete enlightenment, and it's like it's the guiding thing that drives your life forward. So when you're talking about that in that kind of terms, which is how Ross and I have always been felt about music. Like like Ross says, the lines are blurred. Like, it is our life, and it can be hard to balance. It's just tricky, and it takes a bit of time to kind of work out. But balance kind of friendships, relationships, and time with family, and all the other kind of aspects of people's lives that you ultimately put on the back burner to give up as because of what you're sacrificing to make sure that you are achieving what you want to achieve as an artist, and those two things can be quite difficult to manage. So the lines are totally blurred, and it is our life, and it's but we love it. Like, we're happy, and we have the best time, and we get to travel around and talk to lovely people, and it's wicked. So we have no issues at all. It's great.
Right now, I understand you're still in the early stages of a North American tour going out to the West Coast. Are there any particular dates to which you're definitely looking forward?
As a band, we've only ever really done kind of like New York and LA and South by Southwest and all the kind of stuff that a lot of British bands do when they come over in the early parts of their career. And we're getting an opportunity now to kind of travel inland and visit places we've never been to. We've never been to Toronto in Canada, and we're looking forward to that. Never been to Chicago or Detroit or Nashville or Dallas or Austin. No, we've been to Austin with South by, but we did do a show with Capital Cities in Denver once. But we're going to Greeley and Portland, San Fran and LA and all these places. So we're going to visit some really cool places.
All of it. It's all like, we're excited about the unknown. Essentially, we've never been to a lot of these places, so we're looking forward to all of it, really.
Actually, I mean, despite the East Coast, New York being closer to England, are there any cities in particular that you find pick up your music throughout the country first? I mean, obviously the Midwest is probably very difficult to get exposure to, as probably the West Coast is.
We don't know yet. That's essentially, we're not really sure, because we haven't been to any of them places.
Got any research back yet saying?
No, that'd be nice.
Well, we take Washington, for instance. We turned up in. It was actually the first night of the tour, and we honestly got on the plane just being like, look, I haven't got any expectations, which has been a kind of a bit of an ethos we've had across this whole release. Is just going with the flow and just relaxed, and it's been really good fun. But we turned up in Washington, and it was packed, and people knew the words, and they knew the words to our early stuff and our new stuff, and to be so far from home and to talk to people and they've listened to our records and it means something to them. That's a really, really nice, humbling thing. Without sounding really cheesy and this is does kind of make it worth it big time. So we're hoping that trend continues. It has been like that at most shows. So it's good fun.
That's got to be one of the most gratifying feelings when folks that you visibly start appreciating your work.
100%, because it's I don't know, the songs exist in mine and Ross's head, and then they exist kind of in our little home studio, and then we get them down, and then we kind of hand them all over to everyone else, and they kind of don't become our songs then. They become everyone else's, and that's really cool. And some people, they kind of helps people, or some people don't like them at all, or some people do like them. But it's nice when people have really lovely things to say. It's cool.
In your musical or just band career, what would you say has been the most, one, challenging moment, and two, the most rewarding moment?
I'd say the most challenging moment has been songwriting. Sometimes I think sometimes you can lose your way with it, and what you want to write, and I think writer's block is a very scary thing for a songwriter. And sometimes you can be in a situation where you know exactly what you want to make, and it's amazing, and it's so much fun, and it's exciting, and you get a real buzz from it, as much of a buzz as you do from playing a show sometimes, and it's really exciting. But you go, and I'm sure a lot of songwriters have this, but we've felt it hard sometimes, that you have a couple of months where you don't know what you want to write, and you go to a keyboard or you go to a guitar, and nothing comes out, and it's not a thing from, I think any musician has got no problem with work ethic if they want to do it as a profession, and they'll go and they'll sit at the keyboard and they'll sit at the guitar and they'll try their hardest. But sometimes you can be working for 8 hours a day and nothing happens, and that's such a frustrating situation. And so I'd say writer's block is the scariest thing, and then what was the other one? Just like the most positive thing. Yeah, it's just good shows. I think when you go to somewhere new, like Ben said about Washington, or you play a festival where you think no one's going to turn up, and then you have the best show ever. And it's like, yeah, it can be very random. I think the whole being in this industry and being a musician is very snakes and ladders, and sometimes we can be really plain sailing, and sometimes it can be really tricky. And but I'd say they're the two things.
And before we head off for this evening, before you guys start your show, is there any final thoughts, anything else you would like to add that you think the listeners should know about?
We say it FENECH-SOLER, and it's spelled FENECH space SOLER. And I know on radio and stuff, when you hear that name, you can never think, how is it written down? So that's the main thing. Apart from that, we have a new album out, Zilla. We have a covers EP coming out in a few weeks. But check us out, and yeah, thanks for letting us tour your brilliant country. We're having the best time.
Well, thanks so much for joining us, guys.
No worries.
For having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
You have been listening to Recess with Spinelli here on WSPN, Hoxton FM, the International Radio Festival, and the New York State Music Blog. And we have been speaking with the English pop duo FENECH-SOLER from Kingscliff, England. And their new album, Zilla, is out and available now.